Hello YouTube, my name is Ekuegan. You can call me EK if you like. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Now, this TWAB I heard is really beefy, so I'm gonna do my best to try to get through as quick as possible, but I will be reacting the way that I'll be reacting. This is my first time kind of reading this, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so here we go. We have this week at Bungie, 11/18/2021. This week at Bungie, we take a look at every grain and ability sandbox. Hello and welcome to another sandbox focused TWAB. If you're new around these parts, you may be asking what a sandbox. Well, it's complicated. It's split between the weapons you use, the armor you equip, the perks and mods that you hunt for, and the enemies you face. Let's be real, the Destiny 2 sandbox is broad. I'm gonna be honest, the Destiny 2 sandbox is doo-doo. But you know what? Let's go ahead. Last week, we focused on the weapons sandbox and what changes are planned for December 7th. This week, we're taking a pass on abilities your Guardian possesses. Think supers, melees, grenades, and class abilities. I highly recommend you grab a glass of water and maybe a snack, because we got plenty of lengthy upgrades. Sure, man. Anywho, before we dive into the details, it's customary to have a TWAB intro discussing what's going on in the realm of Bungie and Destiny. Let's keep this short and sweet. Motherfucker, this shit don't look short or sweet at all. Anyways, let's read it. No, our 30th anniversary is out on December 7th, which just so happens to be 19 days from the publication of this blog article. Why you let me know this? I don't need to know this. I already know it. Anyways, in game, there's still plenty to do between seasonal challenges, Trials of Cyrus, the occasional Iron Banner, vendor reputation, Gyro hunting, and more. Nah, not really, but okay. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the States, and many of us will be taking some time to rest up and spend time with family. Hey man, if you celebrate it, happy Thanksgiving to you early. I hope you guys get to hang around your family and kind of cherish what you're thankful for. I am thankful for being able to stream on Twitch and also upload YouTube videos for you guys to watch. So thank you for that. And if you don't celebrate it, it's okay. I still appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? As such, expect a very light TWAB next Wednesday. Oh, the TWAB's coming out Wednesday next week. That's cool. Sandbox time. Let's get to it. There are buffs, there are nerfs, there are tuning levers that we've recently unlocked with back-end changes. There are clear separations between PvE and PvP. I like that. I like this whole line right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that. There's a lot going on here, so don't feel bad if you scratch your head wondering how these upcoming... Wait, what? If you find anything a bit confusing, please sound off with questions. We'll clarify as we can on our own forums and social spaces. With all that preamble out of the way, I'll finally shut up and pass the mic over to Z. Let's do it. I like this. This should be like an emblem. But like they should put like an eggplant. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the pencil. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yo, it's dad. Yo, that's Kevin Giannis. He's my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a very smart guy, man. Kevin is an awesome dude. Kevin Giannis here to give you a quick, it's already going to be good. Kevin's already, you know what I'm saying, he's here to give you a quick intro before I hand off to fellow designers Eric Smith and Mike Humboldt. A few TWABs ago, I gave a brief roadmap leading towards our 30th anniversary, the Witch Queen, and beyond. A new roadmap update will likely not happen for some time after this, as the team is heads down on more than a few initiatives. One of the initiatives you're going to hear about today is an adjustment to ability regen as a whole and a refocus on Crucible gameplay on weapons. The team has touched almost every piece of ability content with this release, and I'm fairly convinced that this will be our biggest balance patch ever. Let's get it. Earlier this year, we heard overwhelming feedback that the Crucible has been largely dominated by ability users. Hold up. Kevin, I love you. But you motherfuckers gonna see that? Shit or dive every fucking corner? No? Okay, cool. I love you too, man. Players felt that abilities were firing off too frequently, with too much potency and too little investment. Yeah, there was no gunplay. And then when there is gunplay, people are using weapons that one-shot you. People are using Lure Monarch and switches to a different weapon. People are using macros. Okay, let's get going. At its core, Destiny's a game about space magic. Is it? Then let's just keep the abilities there. Any adjustment to our abilities must be made with care. We believe the changes we have made will keep the heart of what makes Destiny abilities fun intact, while shaving down some of the excessive cases we've seen out there. I feel it's important to reinforce here that as a part of Destiny's strength, that is a live game, and we're able to Okay. The live game. And we're gonna improve the game as time goes on. Okay, all right. This means that we're building new foundational systems like the one you'll read about today. With that in mind, we're giving ourselves more balancing knobs to tune than we ever had before. How come they, hear me out. How come Bungie always has to like almost explain or give us the reason why they're doing something? I just feel like break it down to me, and then like if I need to, then I can ask why, but okay. We hope 30th anniversary shakes up the sandbox in new ways and gets you excited for even more changes coming in the Witch Queen. The team will likely go heads down for a bit, and we'll have Solar and Arc to 3.0 iffy alongside other insanely cool initiatives. The team takes player feedback seriously, and as Destiny players ourselves, we have an intrinsic fire to keep improving things for everyone. We hope what you've seen over the last year reinforces that this team is both about competitive balance and making incredibly dope new stuff. So I am now going to fade away into the ether as Eric Smith takes us into what's coming next. Awesome. The winds of change, I'm sorry. In 30th anniversary, we changed the way ability cooldowns work. Up until now, cooldowns across individual ability types, grenade, melee, class, super, have generally been identical between all abilities of the same type. For example, all the grenades in today's Destiny 2 share the same cooldown time, with the exception of stasis grenades. This shared cooldown means that all grenades need to have roughly the same power output because they have the same time cost. Holy shit, I've been talking about this for so long. Like most grenades are crappy and you're only going to use one, and most hunter grenades aren't the greatest, right? The hunter has one of the best grenades in the game, but the rest of them aren't that good. So this is nice. This is good to see. We made a change that allows us to tune the cooldown of each ability separately. That's freaking awesome. This gives us a new knob to turn when balancing abilities that are too powerful or not powerful enough. Now that we have this new system in place, we've done a cooldown tuning pass on all the subclass abilities in the game, tuning each ability cooldown against its power output. We also tune ability power outputs and assign cooldown times accordingly. The best example of this might be flux grenades. Increase base cooldown from 82 to 182. Increase attack detonation damage from 150 to 250. One shot killing PvP. Okay. People will probably use that more. Probably gonna be a sticky meta for hunters running arc. But then it gives people something to use for that class. But then hear me out here. That just means people have something to use besides shadow diving. So that's another option. Whatever. That's cool. Increase damage versus PV combatants by 15%. I would say if you increase that by 35%, I would like it more, but to each their own. You know, if it keeps the detonation damage from 150 to 250, fuck it. Maybe that's so drastic enough that the detonation damage plus the 15% damage versus PV combatants will stack together. So we'll see. Remove projectile tracking. Added a small amount of aim assist. Increase throw speed by 117. Now sticks to all surfaces. Okay, that's pretty neat. If they do that for all the like different grenades, I can't wait to test that out myself. The flux grenade now has a very long cooldown, but it's a one-shot kill in PvP if you manage to lend it. It also hits hard in PvE. As a reminder, the flux grenade is currently only available to the hunter Arcstriders. Now here's an example in the opposite direction: the fireball grenade. Reduce base cooldown from 82 seconds to 64. Reduce damage for both from 90 to 65. Increase damage versus PV combatants by 15. Okay. My thing is there has to be... Fireball grenades are nice, but there has to be an exotic that kind of like works with it. I don't know. The fireball grenade has a low cooldown time, especially at tier 10 discipline. It also has low damage output. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get enemies burning, it could possibly work with bottom tree solar, because then once the enemies are burning, you can shoot them and they blow up. That could be a possible thing. Who knows? We'll see. These kind of very cooldown and power output should make the game feel more dynamic and give more depth to build crafting. To make build crafting around cooldowns easier, you'll now be able to see the base cooldown of your abilities when selecting them on the... Oh, that is dope. I like this. I like this update. Hell yeah. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. On the character screen, you'll see the actual cooldown time of your abilities as they're affected by your equip ability and armor stats. the quality of life change. All right. A couple of things to note about cooldown time in the UI. The base cooldown time is actually the cooldown time at tier 3 of the relevant armor stat, strength, discipline, etc. This is because the system technically penalizes you for tanking your stats below tier 3. In which case, your cooldown will be longer than the base. We're looking into updating this to be more intuitive in the future release. Cooldown times for class abilities are not currently displayed due to technical issues. We plan to fix this in a future release. We've been calling this the variable ability cooldown system, and we think is the beginning of a big change for the Destiny 2 sandbox. It's a foundational change in preparation to move the light subclasses over to Subclass 3.0 system that Stasis currently uses. For the 30th anniversary, we're using it to change the cooldown of nearly every ability in the game. One of our design goals this year was to reduce the amount of ability spam in the Crucible and put the focus back on gunplay. To this end, we made ability cooldown times longer than average than they were before. We don't want the PvE experience to suffer for the sake of PvE balance, though. I like that line right there. So we tried to compensate where possible. For example, we increased all grenade damage versus PvE commands by 15% or more. This should make grenades feel like bigger power moments than they do in today's game. So when Oppressive Darkness comes back, nice. Melee ability cooldown haven't been increased quite as much as grenade cooldowns, and some of the less aggressive melee attacks have lower cooldowns than before. Class ability cooldown have also generally increased, but the changes vary depending on which ability is equipped. Okay. I mean, the way I look at it is there's going to be exotics that are going to kind of go back into play again. Like, Heart of Inmost Light is going to be really good for the Titan, because I don't know if you don't know how that exotic works. If you're a subscriber on the YouTube, definitely go into the search bar for this channel and type in the Heart of Inmost Light, and there's going to be a build there that explains how strong that can be, especially with the changes happening to the to our abilities. Now, we're excited to see how changes feel once they hit live game. We'll be monitoring and adjusting according in future releases. I'll now pass the mic to Mike Humbo to talk about big changes to super cooldowns. Into the fray. Since Destiny 2 launched in 2014, Super Energy game has been almost entirely passive. Your intellect stat dictates how quickly your super regens, with a few other elements like orbs of power, armor, and weapon perks, and defeating targets as active sources. The system worked well for a long time, but has issues that have grown more obvious as the game has evolved in overall player skill, especially skill and value in how to play around their character build. You mean to tell me that people don't care, right? No one wants to actually build into their characters and the abilities. Everyone just wants to run the same recovery and intellect crap and be like, oh, I'm good. So this is pretty neat. I like this. In high stakes game modes like Trials of Osiris or Survival, where each life is precious, passive play becomes more common as players sit back and wait for the super skills out of tie game. In general, we want the most efficient way to gain super energy to be actively engaging in combat. That doesn't mean you need to win every fight, but we want you to try. Oh, if you're doing that for Crucible, that is beautiful. Especially for Trials. To get us closer to that goal, we're making a big change to the system. Super Regeneration will still have a passive component scaled by your intellect stat, but at a significantly reduced rate. On top of your passive regen, you also gain super energy by dealing and taking damage to or from opponents. Here are a few key goals for this new system. In PvE, super uptime should be relatively unchanged from the live game if it's not slightly higher. I like that already. Thank you for letting me. That was one of my questions. We're pretty happy with the frequency of supers and most PvE content. Don't want to make a big changes right now on that front. Everybody should get at least one super in a 6v6 match that goes to the score time limit as long as they engage in regular combat. This is almost going back to like vanilla D2 when it was launched. And if you got 2 supers in the game, like, you were just a lucky dude. Like, you were going off, you know? So we'll see how that goes. Expression of... Here's the thing, though, right? I think Thresh could be really good with, like, the way that I'm looking at this, right? Perks like Wellspring, right? Getting your abilities back. Stuff like Thresh to help with your super. If you get weapons with these perks and stuff like that, like, you know, start looking at them a little bit more, because it seems like with the changes like this, some of those things are going to become viable depending on the weapon type. Like, perfect example, people tell me Comedian is not going to be too good. Like, if you get you a Subsistence Thresh Comedian, there's also like Charge of Light mods that work for shotguns. You can put that together run tractor and you just you can probably just run through stuff and get your super pretty quick. There are multiple ways to play Destiny, man. I think people just kind of like sit in one section and everyone wants to use like the same roles and everyone wants to like find meta always. Especially empowered through using your awesome space magic is a core part of what makes Destiny special. And we're not looking to change that. We think the cadence of supers in 6v6 mode is slightly too high, but we don't expect a dramatic change in super uptime for most players in playlists like Control or Iron Band as a result of these changes. Supers should be less frequent in 3v3 modes than a live game where 2 supers per match is a fairly regular occurrence. These modes are about expression of player skill. We want that skill to be primarily about team coordination, positioning, intelligent use of your abilities, and first and foremost, gunplay. I mean, it'd be nice if it gets to the point where like someone has to think about, if I use this ability, when's the next time I'm gonna be able to use it, right? So that's pretty neat. That's good to hear. While there's absolute skill in outmaneuvering active supers or playing around supers uptime, supers in general are purposely designed to be accessible power fantasies for all players, and that inherently creates a symmetry that we need to account for in more competitive play. Primary weapons should have a noticeable benefit in super energy regen. With this new system, we are scaling energy gains up and down gradually based on the source of the damage, both outgoing and incoming. Outgoing primary weapon damage has a significantly higher return of super energy per damage point than any other type. That means if you get you a pally with like Thresh on it, you might get your super pretty quick. Isn't Thresh also on Fatebringer and stuff like that? I don't know. But different supers should come online at different times in a given match, and your super of choice should have an impact on how quickly it regenerates. To reiterate what we mentioned above, we have always lived in a world where nearly every super in the game shares the same cooldown, regardless of their efficacy in a given game mode. Now that we have made the foundational change to differentiate cooldown per individual ability, we want to address the super o'clock issue in the Crucible. Where 3 minutes into a match, 12 supers are simultaneously popped and chaos ensues. We also want to open up build crafting space where your super cooldown is an important element in your decision making beyond how high you want your intellect stat to be. To that end, we separated supers into cooldown tiers that affect both the passive regen rate as well as the damage-based regeneration rate. This tier was primarily focused by each super skill potential, where most one-off supers are unlikely to wipe a team or room of combatants, but a long-lasting. Okay, so you're making one-shot supers probably stay almost the same way that they are, but Roman supers would. Okay. We also take into account the general potency of the subclass kit where possible. For example, later on, we'll discuss Shadow Dive and changes we're making which impact how effective the Revenant Hunter is in the neutral game, causing us to shift some of that potency to the super uptime as a result. It's also important to stress that this is the first iteration of the system, where any given super will fall into the recharge rate tiers, will change over time as we continue tuning. These are the super regeneration rate tiers that we're launching on December 7th. Tier 5, fastest regen, Roll of Radiance. Thank you for not really touching that. Tier 4, Blade Barrage and Silence the Squall. Tier 3, Shadow Shot, Burning Maul, Arc Staff, Nova Bomb, and Thunder Crash. Tier 2, we got Golden Gun, Chaos Reach, Nova Warp, Storm Trance, Daybreak, Sentinel Shield. I feel like Nova Warp should be in Tier 3, but all right. Tier 1, Spectral Blade, Fist of Havoc, Hammer of Soul, Glacial Quake, and Winter's Wrath. You know what? We'll see how this goes. As Kevin and Eric mentioned, this setup for the future as we move towards the Subclass 3.0 system, as an example for the 30th anniversary, things like the Deathfall and Mobius Quiver variants of Shadow Shot will share the same cooldown tier. But with Void 3.0 launch in February, they could exist in different tiers based on their potency. By that same token, Water Dawn, which is currently tied to Sand and Shield cooldown, would be moving to Tier 5 group as a standalone super. Yeah, because it's a bubble. Okay. Taking it down a notch. Let's talk about non-super abilities for a moment. In the 5/27/21 TWAB, Kevin shared our foundational pillars for the roles we want abilities to play in the PvP combat sandbox. As a quick refresher, this is where we want to be. Weapons are the primary ways players engage with combat. Non-super abilities accentuate or augment the combat that should rarely solve an encounter by themselves. Abilities have clear strength, weaknesses, and counterplay. Build crafting is rewarding within the moment the moment combat loop of destiny. We're not there yet. In general, ability uptime in the Crucible is too high for their current potency, and it's difficult to understand when an opponent will gain an ability after using it. Some of that uptime comes from passive cooldown, but many of our outliers also come from elements of the build crafting system that have previously been unified in ability energy returns between PvE and PvP. So it is nice that they're trying to like separate PvE and PvP now, because now like people can kind of like make builds with mods and not worry about like, oh, my build is about to get shit on like whenever they nerf this in PvP. So it's pretty nice. With the 30th anniversary, we've taken a pass at a significant number of these elements. Across subclass perks, armor mods, and exotic armor pieces, we have tuned PvP energy regeneration separately from the base PvE values, which we are not changing. Thank you very much. That is actually pretty freaking awesome. This right here is a great line. Per our pillars, we want build crafting to be rewarding, but in its current state, the combinational nature of these perks and items leads to an unsustainable ability energy economy that diminishes weapon play in PvP. For this tuning pass, we focus primarily on items that feed into self-perpetuating loops of ability energy gains. Here's a brief list of the effect items. Subclass neutral game perks. These perks have their ability energy regen reduced by roughly 50% PvP. Look at that. Another one. It says in PvP. We targeted perks that can either activate out of combat with a single button press, or those that will return the amount of ability energy that were significantly out of band. Whisper Shards, Arc Web, Rising Storm, Ionic Traces, Electrostatic Surges, Aftershocks, Inertia Override, Benevolent Dawn, Practice Makes Perfect, and Dark Matter. You know what? It says in PvP right there. I'm already excited. Subclass and super perks. These perks scale down energy returns as you get kills in your super. The first kill while in super returns more super energy than the third kill. These perks often result in supers being able to roam the map for much longer than is healthy for the game, and mean that a victim can frequently dodge an active super, respawn on the other side of the map, and be killed by the same super again. We rescale this energy refund decay more aggressively in PvP so that the minimum energy refund is reached roughly twice as quickly. No changes have been made. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hello? Yo, Bungie, you there? Yo, that's crazy. Yo, good job, bro. Now I said like, yeah. Yo, matter of fact, yo, who did it? Who? Now I say who came up with this? Yo, tell him I said good job. So this shit is crazy, bro. That's crazy. All right. What I'm looking at here is exotic armor. Each exotic below has a custom tuning pass focused on their ability energy return in PvP. Oh my god. Wow, they really not touching PvE stuff. Oh my, I was about to have a heart attack. I see Frosties here. Ooh, this shit says no change in PvE. All right, let's get to it. No longer stacks multiplicatively in PvP with other regen buffs. Is now an additive scalar. Oh, harder and most light. Oh, my next favorite exotic. What the fuck? Like, ability energy regen scalar reduced by 50. Oh, in PvP. Oh, yes. Oh, my face right now. Ah, shit. I gotta find a spot on the wall. Just right on that motherfucker. Anyways, yeah, we back. Reworked so activating multiple abilities will not reliably result in multiple Empire stacks. The stacking behavior was previously a bug, but this seemed like a good opportunity to promote it to the feature. Controversy holds. Duration of the grenade regen buff is no longer random between 1 and 4 seconds. It's now fixed of 1.75. Why not just 2 seconds? That's like in between. Reduced grenade energy regen scaled by 50% PvP. The previous average duration due to waiting was 1.71, with 1 second duration being most common, so this should improve the exotic consistency across the game with lower return in PvP. Doomfangs, reduce super energy gain on activation when an opposing player is killed by a void melee by 50%, no change in PvE. Shinobu's Vow, reduce grenade, I'm not gonna read the rest of this. No change in PvE. Violent Tempest, grenade and melee and super energy, no change in PvE. Stag, no change in PvE. Oh my lord. Armor mods. In general, reduce energy returns from these mods by roughly 50% in PvP. Ah, shit. Bro, I looked at this list and I was about to be mad because I saw Dynamo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's crazy. Anyways, depending on the number of copies of mods you have slotted, melee kickstar, grenade kickstar, utility kickstar, perpetuation, whatever the fuck it is right here, it's only affected in PvP. Okay, hey, I'm done, son. This is a big foundational motherfucker. This is monumental. Fuck foundational. You know what I'm saying? Hello? Yeah, y'all finally did something good. Yeah, I'm not mad this week. Thanks, man. Who am I? Oh, my bad. I ain't nobody. I should hang up the phone. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, are you busy and shit? My bad, Bungie. All right, yo, we back. Now I throw back to Eric for some spicy details on more ability tuning changes you can expect in the 30th anniversary. Damn, this is long. This is long, motherfucker. This is longer than long. All right, this is schlong. The fuck, like, yeah, I've been reading. I feel like I'm back in fucking college. What is this? Like, it's not even an essay. This is like a whole book. I'd rather read a Harry Potter book right now. What the fuck, like? Anyways, gonna remind me this shit is long. Like I wanted to read it and shit. In case you haven't caught on yet, the list of ability changes we're making the 30th anniversary is massive. Nah, it's not massive. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we touched nearly every ability in the game in some small way. We won't go over the full patch notes because it's mind-numbing long. Stop talking about long, bro. Fuck. I feel like these motherfuckers eat at Subway, man. They always scan the... You know what? No comments. Let's take a look at some of the more provocative balance changes. Stasis Crystals. Stasis Crystals do a lot. On top of freezing a player when they're created, they also block line of sight, block movement, act as explosive barrels. It's a little bit too much for PvP with this release. Stasis Crystals will now slow players instead of freezing them, and they'll do much less damage when they detonate. Thank God. Also, can you make it to where, like, if I'm like 10 meters away from the crystal, it doesn't freeze me? Because that shit is crazy. As far as PvE is concerned, Stasis Crystals will still freeze combatants, and will increase Stasis Crystal detonation damage versus PvE. Bro, you nerfed it in PvP, but you buffed it in PvE? I must be dreaming. Yeah, I'm dreaming. Hello? No, I'm not dreaming. You sure? Are you positive? Yo, you sure? Alright, cool. Cause this shit looking spicy. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So looking at the numbers, it was almost better to shoot directly at a combatant instead of at a crystal near a combatant. This change should help crystals better live out their explosive barrel dreams. Stasis Crystals. While forming, Stasis Crystals now slow nearby players instead of freezing them. They still freeze PvE combatants while forming, increase slow and freeze radius while forming from 1.75 to 2.6, reduce crystal detonation damage versus players by 55%, increase crystal detonation damage versus PvE combatants by 60, increase crystal... Ooh, this... Yo. This shit is phenomenal. Hunter. This better be... Yeah, this better be PvP. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see dodge. This shit better be PvP, bro. Don't do me wrong, bro. I'm looking at you right now. I'm holding this apple. I don't want to look like this after, okay? I'm looking at you, though. I'm ready to read this shit. In order to meet our goal with less ability spam in the Crucible, oh, yeah, they said Crucible. We're reducing how often hunters can dodge. Gambler's dodge is getting hit the hardest because it can completely circumvent melee ability cooldown times. It also completely changes the hunter's silhouette in PvP, making it powerful, very powerful. In addition, hunter dodges will no longer break projectile tracking, meaning it's less of a get out of jail card when a tracking rocket or another slow moving target flying. Okay. Hunter dodge no longer breaks projectile tracking. Marksman dodge. Tier 10 mobility cooldown increased from 11 to 14 seconds. Base cooldown unchanged at 29. Gambler's dodge. Tier 10 mobility Increase from 11 to 18. Base cooldown duration from 29 to 38. Okay. All right, that's not bad. Revenant. You guessed it. The Stasis Crystal changes detail earlier mean that the Hunter Revenant Shadow Dive will now almost never kill a full health Guardian. Shadow Dive may still kill if the Hunter is used to Whisper Fissures, Touch of Winter, and the target is in the center of all crystals. But that has been incredibly rare in our playtesting. I think we can all agree that Shadow Dive was too powerful. Motherfucker, like, everybody agrees. Like, my future kids agree, and I don't have kids yet. Like anybody can see that shit. We tried a number of fixes over the past few releases, but the truth is, as long as Stasis Crystals froze players and Shadow Dive shattered players, it was going to be too good. But it's not all rain clouds and puddles for Shadow Dive hunters. The increase in Stasis Crystal damage versus PvE combatants makes Shadow Dive a great choice in PvE. I won't use it in PvE though. On top of that, we're increasing Shadow Dive damage versus frozen combatants by 100%. Have fun melting frozen monsters. Shadow Dive, much less lethal versus players due to Stasis Crystal change. Much more lethal versus combatants due to Stasis Crystal damage. Increase Shadow damage versus frozen PvE combatants by 100%. Grim Harvest, increase fragment slots from 2 to 3. Okay. I might be looking into the build then. 2 to 3 is nice. Okay. Top 3 Arcstrider. This class, a change to combination blow melee was made possible by a variable ability cooldown system. Previously, top 3 Arcstrider were basically required to use Gambler's Dodge with this tree. We hope this change will make this ability viable even if you're using Marksman Dodge. Reduce base cooldown duration from 96 to 15 seconds for combination blow. Okay, that's actually pretty freaking dope. But I mean, I'm not gonna use Marksman's Dodge anyway. Like, I don't really need a reload like that. And plus the animation, it makes you like twirl, and you know, Gambler's Dodge, you just roll on the floor. I don't know. Each their own. The Vanishing Smoke melee has low damage output but high utility. Our data shows that this subclass tree is struggling in PvP, so we decided to increase how often Pathfinder hunters can go invisible. Vanishing Smoke melee reduce base cooldown from 96 to... Wait, what? What? Did bottom tree just get a buff again? Huh? Reduce base cooldown. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Good job. Yeah, good job, son. Good job. Yo. Shoulder charge. In our effort to put the emphasis back on gunplay in the Crucible, we decided to reduce the number of abilities that can one-shot a full health Guardian, as such as the Titan shoulder charge are no longer one-shot. Wait, but you don't get the shoulder charge back. Wait, if you're gonna make shoulder charge not one-shot people in Crucible anymore, how come you just don't give people infinite shoulder charges? Oh, because they'll probably like break melting point. To balance this out, we made the shoulder charge quicker to activate, easier to hit with, and travel further. We also increase travel further. Oh, I'm finna be zooming. We also increase their damage in PvE. In our experience, they're still powerful. You know what that means, right? I'm about to get like my Dash Punk helmet on and shit. You know? I haven't used it in a while. But it might be time. You know what I'm saying? If you got an insurmountable score for it, use that with top 3 shoulder charge. This might be really fun. We wanted to curb shoulder charge fluency now that we tuned down shotguns as the current counter. We'll be monitoring the data and feedback and adjusting accordingly. All shoulder charges no longer one-shot players. Current activation time reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. Increased range from 5.5 to 6.8 meters. Targeting cone width increased by 10%. Increased damage versus PvE command by 25. Seismic strike. Reduce AoE from 90 to 40. Why? Now blinds enemies in area on hit. Okay. Increase base cooldown from 82 to 90. If that shit blinds, that's actually really nice. Shield Blast. Reduce AoE from 90 to 40. Increase base cooldown from 82 to 90. That sounds more like a nerf. I don't know. Hammer Strike. Reduce direct impact damage from 170 to 120. Increase base cooldown from 80. This sound like, all this sound like more like nerfs, but whatever. Barricade. Even with the rally barricade change we made in Season of the Lost, using this ability during the firefight is still a risky proposition. We spaced out the cooldown to 2 barricades to make the choice slightly more interesting. Tyrant Barricade, increased base cooldown duration from 37 to 40. Rally Barricade, reduced base cooldown from 37 to 32. Yeah, but Rally is very situational. Tyrant just works in most places because you can create your own cover. Whatever. We agree with the general community feedback that the Behemoth could use some love in PvE. Oh. We're hoping these changes to Diamond Lance makes this aspect a top tier PvE pick. Shiver Strike is getting a big damage buff during the Glacial Quake Super. The Whisper Chains Fragment buff is also very spicy and should help the Behemoth survivability in local PvE activities. Yeah, if you bring this shit in the GM and you die, I'm gonna laugh at you. I ain't gonna roast you, but I'm gonna laugh at you. Whisper Chains can be used by all Stasis subclasses, but making the crystal is kind of the Behemoth thing, so we're listening here. Diamond Lance, increased fragment slots from 1 to 3. This is beautiful. I like that. That means we can kind of build better, right? When you're stuck at 1, you can't do nothing. That's why the Warlock is so good, because each fragment like kind of gave you 2 or 3. So this is actually pretty neat. Now spawns a Diamond Lance upon killing a PvE combat with a Stasis weapon. Okay, Aggers, I'll be looking for you. Killing 3 players with Stasis weapon in single life. Killing an enemy with a Stasis ability, and shattering enemies. Shiver Strike, increased Shiver Strike damage while in Glacial Quick by 50%. That's still kind of doo-doo, but you know, to each their own. That's like when they buffed Nova Warp and they hyped it up. They even made a whole trailer using Nova Warp. Who the fuck uses Nova Warp right now, huh? If you use Nova Warp, make sure you leave a comment, okay? I need to laugh at you. Now, I'm gonna put LOL after you put it. Appreciate it. Increased damage. Resistance versus PvE combats from 25 to 40. Cool. Bottom Tree Striker. This class is absolutely dominating PvE this season. So oh yikes. We're turning down a notch. How about you just like get some other subclasses up, huh? The changes we made into Fizz of Havoc this season of the Laws help top tree as attended, but they also turned bottom tree into a monster. No, they didn't. On top of that, the Stasis nerfs and the other changes we made over the past few releases create a power vacuum that Striker bot filled with extreme prejudice. No. I mean, here's the thing. Bottom tree Striker was the only thing that was playable because you messed with the Stasis class, right? So that means after you nerf this, people are going to use bottom tree solar with sunspots, and then you're going to nerf that, and then like what okay. Knockout. Melee lunge range and melee damage bonus now deactivate after a melee kill. The damage bonus deactivate after a melee kill. Super energy gained from a Fist of Havoc light attack now decays to minimum amount over 3 PP kills, down from 7. From 7, huh? Frontal Assault Melee. Increased base cooldown from 82 to 106. Fist of Havoc. Heavy Slam radius reduced from 8 to 6. Okay. I guess. Uncharged Melees. Warlocks have been losing slap fights for too long. That's because they bitch ass deserve it. If you play D1, Warlocks can melee you from like a corridor. And you get on the map, especially Stormcaller, they used to be able to like melee you from like you ever you know, stood out too long and you get to the front of the house, but you don't want to like open the gate to actually get to the door because you know your parents waiting there. That's like the Warlock melee. Like it, like as soon as you open the gate, you was getting slapped. Like what? Until now, Warlocks haven't been able to melee back to back as quickly as Titans. They have exotic that kind of like they call Ophidians. I slap the shit out of people with Ophidians on. I don't know what. Okay, no more with the 30th anniversary. Whoever wrote this is a Warlock made at Bungie. They probably doodle. They probably got backhanded by Hunters and Titans too much. Because I feel like the Titan, that melee don't even reach much. Like, got these low ass arms and shit. You barely hit nobody. This shit is crazy. Anyways, whoever wrote this is delusional. I don't care if you watching this from Bungie. I'm sorry. You're delusional. Know what I'm saying? All right, cool. But we wanted to do it in a way that won't cause one classic because this is lose slap fights. Lose the slap fights. Yo, you know what? Bungie needs to add a game mode in Crucible, call it slap fights. Melee only. What the fuck? Like, why does this matter? Ain't nobody run out there just for straight slap fights, bro. Yo. Oh my God. That's going to be the new trials mode. Slap fights. I'm fucking weak. Oh my God. Reduced melee range from 5.5 to 4.5 now matches Hunters and Titan. Wait, so you mean to tell me they're losing slap fights, but their melee range was like a meter over the other two? Bro, if you lose in slap fights and the motherfucker got longer reach. Imagine like having a longer wingspan than someone and you can reach them and they can't reach you by a whole meter and you still lose it. Whose fault is that? Huh? You know what? Reduce suppression time after melee. Can now melee back to back at the same speed as Hunter Titan. This shit is too funny. Slap fights. Oh, yikes. Middle Tree Voidwalker. In our effort to do away with one-shot abilities that are frustrating to be hit by, Hell Supernova is also getting the shoulder charge treatment. But y'all already spoke about handheld like previously, and this y'all just be writing shit to make this swap long. So like, if you watching this video, don't blame me. Blame Bungie. All right. Thank you for watching. Holy shit. We also increased the damage of handheld Supernova and Nova Warp versus champions and boss combatants. It's still not going to do nothing. Didn't y'all increase that shit by like 100%? I used it and it was doo-doo. We had to increase the damage. Yeah, you did. But it felt like they could use more juice. They don't, like, it's not just juice they need. Like, they need like Red Bull. They need Monster. Put all the energy drinks into one thing. Call it the Hulk. They need like Hulk juice. Reduce damage versus players. Now deals 150 damage max. Increase damage versus champion and bosses by 30. Increase projectile range from 12 to 14. Now pushes targets away from the Warlock on detonation. Nova Warp. Increase damage versus champions and bosses by 30%. So that's 130% increase. And I'm going to use it. And that joint is still going to be like tickling champions and bosses. Yay. I can't wait. How come you just like do like another 100%? Because right now it's still doodoo. We feel the Shadebinders in a pretty good place with a couple of exceptions. One, Winter Wrath is still the best super for shutting down other supers, and it's not even close. Winter's Wrath must now freeze and shatter other supers twice to kill them. As a general rule, Roman supers shouldn't be able to one-shot other supers. The Penumbral Blast melee is too difficult to land against PvE combatants. What? You just melee. You just aim and you melee. Oh, you don't want people to aim. My bad. You increase the proximity detonation. Oh, okay. All 3 Stasis grenades now have different cooldowns. So we made a change to Bleach Walker to avoid a situation when it's always best to use the grenade with the shortest cooldown time. This results in an overall cooldown increase for Bleak Watcher, which fits its incredibly high power output. I told you Bleak Watcher was about to get another hot nerf. Reduce shatter pulse damage versus enemy supers. Must now generally freeze and shatter all supers twice. Increase proximity detonation radius versus PvE combatants by 100%. While Bleak Watchers equip, all Stasis grenades charge at a glacier grenade rate. And that's all for now. I think I covered the big stuff. There's a bunch of small changes coming to 30th anniversary, but we're going to cover everything else in the official patch notes. As you can see, the team has been hard. Yeah, y'all been working, man. I appreciate it. Some of the stuff, not needed, but, you know. Cool. Long TWAB is long. It takes a lot of work on the part of numerous teams to get a TWAB out the door. Our friends on the Sandbox team wrote the bulk of this update, and we can't thank them enough for the effort. Not only developing the game, but taking the time to run through goals and keep players informed. Much love, and see you next week for a short and sweet TWAB. Until December 7th, I'll be dreaming of the sandbox changes. All I can think about is jumping on the Arc Hunter equipped Flux Grenade. So you're enabling people to run stickies and one-shot people. Bet you can't stick it. You know what? This is the end of the TWAB, okay? Like, yo, this dad joke, DMG, it was so funny. Like, aha, bro. Aha. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was funny. Like, it was so funny, bro. Thank you for sitting here and watching my whole reaction to this long-ass fucking TWAB. And if you liked it, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and share with your friends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.